Brown, brown, brown. Mish, 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 mash, mush, mush, mish. Kiki says it's okay now. Okay. Sometimes I'm in the mood for a treat with my coffee. And when I am, one of the things I go bananas for is a great banana muffin. Now, when I started working in downtown Honolulu, we had a place nearby that used to make fresh banana muffins every morning, and they were delicious. And I've never quite gotten it to be the same as it was down there, but I have approximated a really good recipe for banana muffins. And one of the things to remember, you know how brown butter and bananas go really well together? Like if you've had bananas Foster, you know how good those are, or banana pancakes. Well, I've taken that and I've added the brown butter flavor to these muffins. And I've done a couple of other tricks to make these muffins extra special, really good. And in fact, I'm going to be using 3 bananas, which means with 12 muffins, I'm going to have a quarter of a banana in each and every muffin. So your flavor is going to be mostly bananas and brown butter. But it goes amazingly with coffee. You're really going to love it. Try it. These will be the best banana muffins you've ever had. So you start out with a half a cup of butter, and what you do with that is you put it in a pan and you brown it. Now in the past I've shown you how to brown butter before. I'm going to do it one more time. I made a pecan pie where you use a brown butter in it. And the trick is you turn your heat on medium. You want to get the banana melted. You're going to see it froth up a little bit. And don't wait until it's all the way brown. You just wait until you see a little bit of color in it. Then you turn off the heat because it's going to continue to brown after you turn off the heat. And if you don't turn it off the minute you see some color, it's going to become burnt, and that's not a good flavor. So you want to definitely get a nice brown butter. Let's brown this up and then I'll show you the rest. Now watch this carefully because it's going to go from molten yellow to black in almost no time at all. So you definitely want to watch. As soon as you see just a little bit of color in it, you turn off the heat. And keep it stirring so that the bottom part doesn't brown first. Okay, there you see it's foaming up. It's going to just change color in just a second. There you go. You're seeing a little bit of a change in color. Turn the heat off. Continue to stir. Let it get browned. And there you go. You see it's browned up. With the heat off, it got nice and brown. It's not burnt. You've got a good brown butter flavor. And pour that in a bowl. Now into that butter, 1 cup of sugar. Now you beat the butter and sugar really well together. Get it nice and fluffy. Okay, now the time has come to put in your bananas. You notice we've got them all brown. They're just very sweet and tangy at the same time. This is how you want them. If you don't get them this sweet, then your banana bread won't be sweet enough. And by the way, one thing you can do if you live in Hawaii is you can use apple bananas in these. Now, those of you who don't live in Hawaii, you don't know what apple bananas are. They're a little bit smaller than the bananas that we're used to in our supermarkets here on the mainland, but they're a little bit more tangy than your traditional banana. They're a little, that's why they call them apple bananas. They're tangy like an apple. So you want to mix the bananas into your butter. My goodness. And because they were so ripe, they're nice and soft. All right, I turned on the stove. You want your stove to be at 350 degrees because when you put it in, you're going to cook these muffins for about 35 minutes or so. Break 2 eggs into this. Now you have a nice wet batter. It's all well mixed. You want to mix it here because once you put the flour in, you don't want to overmix because that'll make the muffins too gummy. So you would definitely want to go ahead and just get it all mixed here. The next thing you want to do is take your dry ingredients and mix them in. You start out with 1.5 cups of flour. Now, as far as the flour, if you want your muffins to be more delicate, you can use cake flour. I actually don't like them too delicate. I like my muffins to be a little chewy. And so I'm going to use regular flour. I wouldn't use bread flour because that would make it too chewy. Put 1.5 cups of flour. So you got 1.5 cups of flour. You put in a teaspoon of baking soda. And then you use 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Take a fork, mix them around. Now, if you really want it light, again, instead of mixing it with a fork, you can sift this all together 1 or 2 times. Okay, and now that all your dry ingredients are mixed up together, pour the dry into the wet, mix them all in, but make sure not to overmix it because you don't want to get too much gluten activated in your mix. Okay, that's mixed good enough. Don't overmix it. Now it's ready to put into the muffin cups. Put it in 12 muffin cups, and you put it in the oven for 35 minutes at 350 degrees, and you're ready to get your muffins out. "35 minutes. Well, it turned out these were done after 25 minutes, and so we're going to use that and go ahead and let them cool down. Always good with coffee. And this is a little more decadent than it needs to be, but I like to have mine with a little butter on it. Look at this. They're great plain. If you want to make them with a little frosting on top, you don't really have to, but you can make a brown butter frosting by browning up some butter just like we did originally. Add some confectioner's sugar into that, stir it up, maybe put a little bit of vanilla and maybe a tablespoon of milk if you need to soften it up, and then you can ice the top of these. I think they're sweet enough without frosting. I can eat them just like this with coffee for breakfast or as a snack anytime. They're really wonderful. They will drive you bananas too. They're really good.